What's going on, everyone? Mr. Mom Collectibles. I hope you have had a great start to your 2025, and for me, this is a great way to kick it off. Ironically, my first figure of 2024 was actually the Jack Sparrow DX06, so it's kind of odd that now we have the Artisan DX39 to start off the 2025 campaign. This has been a highly anticipated figure. I know I say that over and over again, but definitely this has been one I've been looking forward to. And I personally think that this is overall the best artisan figure Hot Toys has done for your money. And we'll get into that in a minute so you can see what everything it comes with. Now, obviously, opening up the packaging, it's very similar to the Artisan Joker. If you remember my review on this, you have this beautiful, beautiful artwork that graces the front once you unslip the cover, showing the figure in two different poses, which I think looks absolutely gorgeous. And once you remove that, it reveals the figure itself. It's packaged identically the same way as the Joker. So I wonder if this is something that Hot Toys will continue to carry on, where you have the figure on one side and then the body, and then they are separated by like this kind of piece of cardboard that's kind of folded up. And when you peel that back, you are then seen with both items there. Like I said, with the Joker, I was a little taken back with the clamshells. I mean, because ultimately it still kind of looks like regular DX packaging. The figure, or the body of the figure, I should say, is in its own protective foam, which that's always nice to have to make sure that everything is packaged nice and neatly. And then you have on the left-hand side, the sculpt, the hands, they are in one tray. And I will say this is a gift that keeps on giving. This box is huge, and it's the layers upon layers of accessories. It's just a bunch of stuff. We have the batteries there for the lantern, and then you have the captain's wheel. Now, right off the bat, I know a lot of people are going to be comparing this to the DX15, which is the closest to, but also keep in mind that DX06 did bring us the captain's wheel, and that is actually the figure that I have that I will be doing my comparison on today. Now, one of the things that was very important for Hot Toys to nail, which is just the unbelievable attention to detail, is the hands. Anyone knows Johnny Depp's performance was very charismatic, and he used his hands as part of his acting or part of his persona. So for them to nail various gestures was just it was a critical thing for Hot Toys to do, and they really, really, really pulled it off. I especially like the hands with the wrap on them. That is something that is different to this particular figure and the 15 versus the DX06. So I really do like that. And I remember just having so much fun with the 06 and just using the different gesture hands. And it just really brings the character and the figure to life. And as you can see there, the amount of detail that is on these is just astounding. Even for someone that is a Jack Sparrow owner, I'm still taken back by the level of detail and craftsmanship that Hot Toys really did put into this. So the hands is definitely one thing that I'm really, really excited that they really nailed, and that you're going to have so much fun posing this up with all the different gestures and things that are available to you. Now, moving on to some of the other accessories that we'll look at. One of the disappointing things is obviously the sword with the 06 and the 15. It was die cast. This one is plastic, and I feel like Hot Toys cheaped out on that one. We could have gotten a die cast sword, which would have been really nice. So that is something that was a little bit disappointing if this is your first Jack Sparrow. But is it a deal breaker? No, but it's just that one little extra level of attention would have been nice. Looking here and focusing in on all of the actual accessories themselves, between the guns and the various, the swords, the dagger, the detail on everything is great. The paint applications is really awesome. A lot of these things do look familiar, like the weapons from the previous versions, just like updated paint applications. These four items, the compass and the other trinkets, you do have to apply those yourselves. Hot Toys does provide you with tweezers, and in the instruction manual, it kind of shows you the placements that you need to put these. be very gentle, because I actually did break the string on the compass when I was applying it to the belt, so you just have to be careful. And there is the bottle with the black pearl, which is reminiscent of the DX06. That came with that figure as well. And then we have the chest with the gold, which is a really nice touch if you want to add that onto the display. And then we have the lantern that has the light up capability with the supplied batteries from Hot Toys. And then we also have the hat, which that is one of a piece of contention. We will talk about this a little bit more a little bit later in the review of his hat, and basically how that's one of the probably the negatives of the figure. There's not many, but that is definitely going to be one of them. Then you have his telescope, the alternate faceplate, and that's just a little tease of the head sculpt that comes as is. And then this is the base, which is absolutely phenomenal. They took something of a similar design to the DX06 and just elevated it with the wheel, which is detachable. It's not locked in place. There are grooves in there that it slots into, but you do have the display options of doing the wheel or without the wheel, and you'll see that a little bit later when I display it. But the attention to detail on this is just absolutely amazing. And we'll look at that DX06 version as well to kind of see if there was any major changes to it. But I love this diorama base, which is something that they should spare no expense on with the Artisan figures, frankly. No Artisan figure, I think, should have anything close to a basic display base that you would get with an MMS figure. They should really go all out with their figures. And this is another reason why I feel like this piece is going to be an Artisan figure that is hard to top, even from the figures that haven't been out yet. I feel this is going to be probably one of the strongest Artisan-based figures for quite some time. When I look at this and I think of the amount of money that's being charged for it, and it's so close in price to like the Joker and other figures, and just the plethora of accessories, the diorama base, everything that has come with this particular figure, I do think that this is going to be a difficult one for them to really match, even with the subsequent releases that will be coming out. It's just going to be hard just because there's so much stuff here it can be very overwhelming. But to get to the one main point, which is the body, the tailoring, the layers, this is a very complicated piece. There's multiple layers to this, and I'm just going to try to zoom in on this so you guys can get an idea of the intricacy and the belts, the multiple belts that he has. And they're all, luckily they're all pre-assembled, which is really nice. And the cloth there has like a magnet on it, but the attention to detail of just everything is just so astounding to me, and the craftsmanship that really kind of went into this. Now, the items that I was explaining to you earlier about those little, what do you call it, greeblies or trinkets, the compass, those obviously get attached to various areas of the belt. Like I said, Hot Toys does supply you with tweezers to do that, so please take your time. I did end up doing that off camera just because it took me a little bit to kind of fiddle with everything. But it's nevertheless, it does something that, you can get done relatively quickly. Just, it's a little time consuming. You got to take your time with it. So that's the one dressing. But like I said, the quality of everything is just really awesome. Like I said, the boot design, a lot of it's going to be similar. I'm not pretending this is all brand new stuff, but it's one of those things that just still kind of blown away by in terms of just the level of craftsmanship that really went into it. It really is overwhelming, and this is such an awesome character design in terms of just the look of him and the layers, and even now looking at the head sculpt, where this is the money maker. And it's not even the sculpt. The sculpt is not even it. My favorite part is actually the hair and the cloth bandana. I mean, for anyone who thought this doesn't look like Johnny Depp, or people out there that were trying to compare to the DX15, I mean, I said it before, I want what you're smoking. This thing is unbelievable. Unbelievable. And to get it in hand, I mean, it just takes it to a whole nother level. And what was so amazing to me is seeing comparisons between this and the sculpted version and just how drastically different this looked. The sculpted version does have some hair elements to it, But man, there's just stuff on this particular version that Hot Toys just went above and beyond on, that it's not exactly the same. Typically, like if you look at the Joker, the hair, okay, the sculpted and the rooted, they look different because of the material, but they have the overall still visual look to them. If you go look at the sculpted hair on this version of this Artisan, it doesn't have all of this beadwork and stuff in the back. And it is amazing. And this is just, and then what really set it off for me was they gave us a cloth bandana. So that just added to the next level of realism, which is just, that attention was so great. And obviously you have the eye rolling system. I mean, and I'm just sitting here with the camera, frankly, just moving the sculpt around just to get different perspectives and things like that. But I'm really just trying to focus in on the details so you can just see the hair and just kind of see how the light hits his eyes and just kind of giving that look. But I mean, it's Johnny Depp. I mean, there's no way not to even think that this doesn't remotely look like him. And then this is just doing some poses here. This is actually the first pose that I did. There's a lot of moving elements to this piece. Obviously, the coat has a thin wire. I kind of wish the wire was a little stronger on the bottom of the coat. But, I mean, I'm nitpicking. And this is just using those hands to really over accentuate different motions and things. And so once you have it all assembled, you have the gun stuffed in there, the blade, it just really is just so astounding. And then this is just an example of him holding the gun, one of his pistols, and just kind of giving a look. But I just wanted to kind of give you guys a detailed look at this. Now, posing this up, you definitely got to spend some time with it. There's a lot of moving elements, especially the hair. When you put the sculpt on, it might seem a little not challenging, but maybe intimidating because of the long hair. And some of it you do have to manually move yourself, like those dreads, and put them over so they hang in the front, if that makes sense. All of his hair isn't meant to hang backwards, so you do have to manually make some adjustments and move some of those dreadlocks to the front so they're hanging in front of him. That is something that you have to do. Don't be afraid to, get in there and work with it. You have to do it. It's made that way. But it's just it's one of those things where it's an outstanding piece. I'm so glad I have this in the collection. It's one that I could never think about passing on, especially even having the DX06. This is just absolutely amazing. So this is something that I wanted to talk about, which was the hat. Obviously, the hat that comes with the piece, when you go to put it on, it's so lightweight, there's really nothing to it. It doesn't really fit, and I've seen other reviewers talk about this, it doesn't really fit perfectly on his head. It does sit, but when you try to kind of put it down to fit, it kind of pops back up, and it's obviously because of the hair, the cloth, the bandana, like all those elements. The hat itself just doesn't really, I mean, it sits okay, but for me, I get the impression that it just sits, and you see how like lightweight that is. I just flicked it off. And so just for kind of just playing around with stuff, I actually put the DxO6 hat on him, and I know it's not visually correct for the movie, but it actually does fit a lot better in terms of physically how it fits. But like I said, it's not the same hat. It's not something that I plan on keeping. The bandana looks so good that I do plan on displaying him as you see here without the bandana on. But I just wanted to give you guys kind of a look at what, I think some people might even try putting the DX15 hat on him. But like I said, physically it fits better. I think the hat was sculpted a little bit better. The new one was just so super lightweight, and I think they were worried about sculpting in a certain way that it might damage the hair. Now, this here is a comparison, maybe not a fair one. I know people are going to be taking the 15 and doing that comparison, and hey, I don't have it. I have the DxO6. I chose this one personally because I liked the look and I liked the ship's wheel that it came with, and so that's the reason why I went with that. But it is astounding, and the 6 is still great. Like, I mean, I raved about this. I made videos about this, about how over the top I was. But man, if you focus in on just the elements, the sculpted bandana, the sculpted hair mixed in, and you kind of look at those elements, and then you look at the Artisan, it's like a night and day difference. I mean, it is like looking at something else. And so, I mean, personally, for me, I've never want to tell anybody, oh, get both. I have a hard time seeing people really content with the sculpted version of this Artisan, just because the elements um, of the hair and the bandana, I think, are enough to set it off to where it's just so different. Other elements are going to be identical, the guns, the style. His look really kind of maintained throughout the movies. Just maybe different coloring of outfits, maybe the color of the shirts and things like that. But overall, I mean, it's genuinely the same look that was carried over from movie to movie. But height difference also, you see the Artisan's a little bit taller as well. But man, you know what? That DxO6 is well over 10 years old, and I gotta say, that thing still holds up. It really does. The fact that it could still kind of compete with this, I mean, that still goes to show how great those old DXs were. And then this is just another comparison of the ship wheels. This is the one from the '06. This came on like these were like cardboard planks that you actually sit it on. And then here, it actually came with a bottle of rum and also came with a version of the Black Pearl as well. That's what this is right here. So I just want to show you guys this. And then we're going to compare it real quick to the Artisan version. And you see they're right there. This is what the two bottles look like. Differences there. And then the DxO6 also came with a magnetic plate that just said Pirates of the Caribbean on there, which I always thought that was a nice touch. Something different that you didn't have to have on there if you didn't want to display it, but that's something that was pretty cool. My magnet obviously doesn't work as much anymore, but it still was a cool element nonetheless. And then you have the planks. And then you have here, this is the wheel by itself on the Artisan version. I just did this for height comparison difference, but then when you add it to the remainder piece of the base, it really just elevates it to a whole nother level. And it's just an outstanding piece that I just think is, and like I said, I don't want to sound like I'm gushing too much, but for someone that owns a Jack Sparrow, this is just something that it's outstanding. And these DXs, now, if you're someone, if you have the DXs already, you may not see the need to upgrade. And, there's nothing wrong with that because, as I said, these figures are over 10 years old, those DXs, and they still hold a pretty good candle to these new Artisans. And so it's a figure that I don't think it's necessary to upgrade to. Maybe, a lot of people are content with having one Sparrow, calling it a day. But when I saw this Artisan, I just couldn't pass it up. It just looked amazing. But overall, it's just, like I said, amazing looking piece. And then finally, a comparison that makes no sense, but I have the figure nonetheless, and I wanted to put them next to each other to kind of wrap up the video here. This is just doing another pose with Captain Jack here, now with the wheel, hand on the wheel, and then he's got his gun kind of out, ready to go. And this is another great pose. I think this is how I'm probably going to have them displayed for a little bit. But there's another figure that I have in my collection that's Pirates related, that's not Captain Jack, that I wanted to display next to him just to see what it would look like. And that, of course, is a grail among grails, which is the Hot Toys Davy Jones. And anyone knows I did a review on this one before, and this is just another amazing piece that I know people want Hot Toys to dip back into and make another one. And that's a custom base I got off of Etsy, that ship base. But these two figures, although they do not make sense because of the movies that they were in, damn, these two look fantastic together, though, don't they? I mean, can't deny that, at least. I know this Jack Sparrow is from Dead Man Tell No Tales, but it doesn't matter. It's my collection. It's my look. I love it. But guys, let me know what you think. Drop a like on the video. Please consider subscribing to the channel. Like I said, this figure is great. The only downsides I could really see is the hat. And that's probably really it. This is an Artisan, although I'm one that always says I don't think things are worth their value. For the amount of money this piece was, I do feel like I got a lot out of it. And it's a piece that I really don't know if if I would have went back and got the sculpted version of this, I don't think I'd be 100% content. I really don't. I think that the Artisan full blown was the way to go on this. That's just my opinion. I don't feel that about every Artisan figure. But I'm interested to see the subsequent releases and if they could top this one, because I don't think they can. But that's my review. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll leave you with a little bit of a closeout of some poses. But until then, this is Mr. Mom Collectibles saying take care, enjoy collecting, and I will see you guys in the next video.